A family's demand. A stranger's offer. A deal that changes everything. Clarisse's life is not her own. Her parents expect her to drop out of college and marry a man of their choosing. But Clarisse dreams of a future she can shape for herself. Enter Austin Lloyd, powerful, mysterious, and burdened by his own family's expectations. When their paths cross in the most unexpected way, he presents her with a proposal, a pretend marriage in exchange for financial security. It's just business. No feelings. No complications. But secrets have a way of unraveling, and hearts never follow contracts. Will their deal lead to destruction, or something neither of them saw coming? Subscribe to the Story Portal and dive into this gripping tale of love, sacrifice, and unexpected destiny. The walls of Clarisse's home felt smaller each day, closing in with the weight of her parents' expectations. She sat stiffly on the worn-out couch as her mother's voice cut through the silence. "You will marry Julius next month." The words hit her like cold steel. Julius, a man she barely knew, handpicked by her parents for his wealth and influence. Not for love. Never for love. Clarisse gripped the fabric of her skirt. "I don't want to marry him." Her father's gaze was sharp, unwavering. "You don't have a choice. College is a waste of time. Marriage will secure your future." Her future? A future trapped in a loveless marriage? Clarisse stood, heart pounding. "I will not marry a man I don't love." Her mother scoffed. "And how will you survive? You can barely afford tuition. Do you think the world will hand you success?" Tears burned behind Clarisse's eyes, but she refused to let them fall. She had to find a way out. She had to fight for herself. She just didn't know how. The day Clarisse met Austin Lloyd, she wasn't looking for a miracle. She was just trying to help. At the small coffee shop where she worked part-time, she noticed an elderly woman struggling with her phone. The woman's face was etched with distress, her hands trembling. "Are you okay, ma'am?" Clarisse asked gently. The woman sighed. "I've been scammed. They took all my savings." Clarisse's heart clenched. "We'll figure something out. Let's start by calling the bank." With patience and determination, she helped the woman contact the right people, guiding her through the steps to report the fraud. By the time they finished, relief flickered in the woman's eyes. "You are a kind girl," she said. "What is your name?" "Clarisse." "Clarisse," she repeated thoughtfully. "You remind me of someone I once knew." What Clarisse didn't know was that the woman she had just helped was Eleanor Lloyd, the grandmother of one of the most powerful men in the city. And fate had just tied their destinies together. Clarisse had almost forgotten about the elderly woman when, 2 days later, a black car pulled up outside the coffee shop. A sharply dressed man stepped out, scanning the cafe before his eyes landed on her. "Clarisse?" he asked. She hesitated. "Yes?" He handed her a small envelope. "Mrs. Eleanor Lloyd wishes to see you." Clarisse's fingers trembled as she opened the envelope. Inside was a neatly written note. "Clarisse, I have not forgotten your kindness. Please join me for tea. I have something important to discuss with you." She glanced up at the man, then back at the letter. The name Lloyd rang a distant bell. Could this be the same Lloyd family, the one that owned half the city's businesses? Her heart pounded. She had no idea what awaited her. But something told her this meeting would change her life forever. Clarisse nervously adjusted the hem of her dress as she stepped into the grand estate. The sheer opulence of the Lloyd mansion took her breath away, marble floors, crystal chandeliers, and walls adorned with paintings that must have cost more than her entire tuition. A butler guided her into an elegant sitting room, where Eleanor Lloyd sat waiting, a warm smile on her face. "My dear, I'm so glad you came," Eleanor said, gesturing for her to sit. Clarisse took a cautious seat. "I was surprised to receive your invitation, ma'am." Eleanor chuckled. "I owe you my gratitude. Not many would have taken the time to help an old woman in distress. It was the right thing to do, Clarisse said simply. Eleanor studied her for a moment. Tell me, Clarisse, do you believe in fate? Clarisse hesitated. I'm not sure. Well, I do. Eleanor leaned forward. And fate has brought you here today. Clarisse swallowed. I don't understand. At that moment, another figure entered the room. A tall, imposing man with striking features and an air of authority. His deep eyes locked onto Clarisse's, and she felt her breath hitch. This is my grandson, Austin. Clarisse's heart pounded as Austin took a seat beside Eleanor, his expression unreadable. I have a proposal for you, Eleanor continued. One that could change both your lives. Clarisse's hands tightened on her lap. What kind of proposal? Eleanor's eyes gleamed. A marriage. To my grandson. Silence filled the room. Clarisse's mind spun. Was this a joke? Austin's voice finally broke through. It wouldn't be real, he clarified. Just an arrangement. A temporary marriage to make my grandmother happy. Clarisse stared at him, stunned. Why me? Eleanor smiled. Because I see something special in you, my dear. And because you need a way out, don't you? Clarisse's pulse raced. The offer was insane. Unbelievable. But was it also the answer she had been searching for?